Just think of all the complexity in biology. What you see here are just a few of the words that you'll encounter this year throughout this course. The goal of this video, though, is to try to simplify all those concepts as much as possible so that learning biology will be much easier. This video will also be based upon Indiana's new state standards for biology. And at the end of the year, we will be taking an end-of-course assessment based on those standards. Here's the lab where you'll be doing your experiments. In the lab, we take measurements, such as pouring water into the speaker, reading the milliliters on the side. We might also draw liquids up into a burette or other measuring device. Take data that way. Temperature. You can see the temperature rise on this thermometer as we place it into the hot water. And now you can see the temperature fall as we place it into the room temperature water. And finally, placing it into the cold water, you can start to see the temperature drop even lower. We can also take the mass of objects. Here we place a piece of weighing paper on and push the tare button. That way we don't take the weight of the paper into account. Place the item on. Here we have a mass of 3.5 grams. Another type of data we'll be using a lot this year is looking at color changes. In this case, upon adding the mystery liquid, there is no color change. However, in this instance, you see a change to a bright pink. Now dipping pH paper changes the color, and you can determine the pH of the liquid by comparing it to the numbers on the side of the vial. That liquid has a pH of about 2. Whereas this liquid, as you can see by the color dark blue, has a pH near 10. The final liquid, which happens to be saliva, has a pH around 6 or 7, which is neutral. In this, iodine is added to starch, and there's a change to a dark black color to indicate starch's presence. This is a universal indicator which changes color in different pHs. The liquid on the left is acidic and turns a bright red color. The liquid on the right is a base and turns a dark blue color. Changes in consistency can also be considered in lab data. Upon mixing the two liquids on the left and stirring, the solution remains relatively clear and transparent. However, the two liquids mixed on the right start to show a clumping. Now, as the plate gets tilted, you'll see how the liquid on the left will run, the liquid on the right is much more viscous and clumpy. Another amazing tool we have are the netbooks. Netbooks can be used to gather data from the lab and place them into spreadsheets, as you see here. Watch as this student inputs information into their spreadsheet. The student types in the number of seeds germinated based on the percent of alcohol in the dish. Using the computer, it's easy to make graphs. Simply highlighting text, a few clicks here and there, within just a bit, you have a graph. Trend lines can even be added. Legends, titles. This entire process took about a minute. We can also do discussion boards. This particular discussion board had to deal with the Lorax. It's a way for you to communicate with your classmates about what you thought about a particular movie, an article, or other reading. By using the science learned in this and other courses, you'll be able to use the scientific method to solve our biggest problems, such as environmental disasters or medical issues. Macromolecules are simply big molecules. There are three main classes. You've got carbs or carbohydrates, lipids, and proteins. Carbs you find in the crust of pizza, for example. You'd also find it in the sugar in these fruits, peaches in this case. You also find complex carbs inside things like corn. As each kernel here is smashed, you can kind of see some of the starchy endosperm, starch is a carb, come out of the kernel. This is also an example of a complex carbohydrate. It's cellulose. This is insulation that's made from basically just ground up newspaper. It's put into a machine and blown through a hose up into attics and wall spaces for insulation, but it is a complex carb. Lipids are the next class, such as this oil that we use for cooking. And of course, here's some lard that comes from animal fat. Got proteins? Proteins you find in things like meat and skin and hair, as you see on this very wire-haired dog. And the last class we don't really find or talk about as being a nutrient in food are nucleic acids. And those are things like DNA and RNA. DNA is the molecule for building you. It tells cells how to build all the parts of every living thing. One of the recurring themes in biology is that structure leads to function. And you'll see that here with these scissors. They have sharp blades for cutting. They were made that way. Another example is this fork. It has tines on it so you can stab food, lift it, put it in your mouth. How about this pizza cutter? Round, rolling, sharp on the edges, perfect for cutting pizza. It's designed that way. Its structure gives it its function. Here's a meat tenderizer. Heavy handle, heavy head for crushing into the meat. And here's a manual can opening. It has a blade, it has a handle to turn for opening cans. And everybody's favorite, we've got an ice cream scoop here, shaped just perfectly for giving you that nice round scoop of ice cream. So what does this have to do with living things? What's it have to do with biology? The shapes of things, anyway. Here's some examples. The purple thing here is the enzyme, and it's going to interact with its substrate, but notice how it fits perfectly in. These cheetahs have spots. It makes them perfectly camouflaged to their environment. Not to mention their long legs and lanky bodies that allow them to run at speeds in excess of 70 miles an hour. This dragonfly has a light body design and 4 wings, very thin, designed to let it fly. And one of our favorite animals here, the giraffe, Long, long neck to reach things, as my daughter just found out right there. And perhaps the ultimate example, the elephant's trunk. Let's listen in as we get a little explanation of what this trunk can do.
Her trunk is a very versatile appendage. For the elephant, it's their nose and their upper lip combined, and it's made of hundreds of tiny muscles and tendons all nicely woven together like a slinky. It is strong enough to uproot a large tree, yet flexible enough to pluck a single blade of grass. She would do that using the two finger-like projections right there on the tip of her trunk that Jacob's showing you. So I don't want that. Just give me the whole sticker, don't bother at all. Now they use their trunk for the important things in life. For Mickey that would be eating, drinking, eating, breathing, eating, bathing, eating, communicating, and eating, in case I forgot to mention eating. Elephants love to eat, and they spend about 16 hours a day doing nothing but eating. For me, that's job security. So what we're going to do for you is show you some of the amazing things that she can do with her trunk. Now in the wild, the African elephant will feed high in the tops of the trees, just like a giraffe. They don't have the giraffe's long neck, so Mickey's going to show us how to do it elephant style. If you have a camera, this makes kind of an interesting picture. We're using a very long target pole. Mickey's target is the ball at the top. She'll relax and extend those muscles a little over 18 feet in the air to touch that ball. Those same muscles also allow her to reach to the ground where she would graze grasses and shrubs. She can also manipulate some very tiny objects, as we said, like a single blade of grass. Now, so put on a little burst of speed if you got it. Okay? Oh, she's playing with you. Keep going. You're doing okay. Okay, you can stop. Water into her trunk and then she blows it into her mouth. Won't go all the way through because she has sinuses up here just like we do. She wants to take a shower and cool herself off. She uses the end of her trunk like a shower head. Excuse me, airball. What we're going to do is give Mickey a big bucket of water and ask her to do a little bathing demonstration for us. But as you saw earlier, Mickey doesn't like to take a bath. She gets dirty about 5 seconds after we give her a bath, so she likes to give other people a bath. Ah, refreshing. There's always a chance of showers here at the farm. Lucky for you, she works more like a sprinkler than an actual fire hose. Now, you guys didn't get wet, right?
In order to survive, cells like these epithelial cells have to be able to respond to their environment. For example, these plant cells are in pure water, and they'll respond to osmotic pressure. When a salt solution is placed on the cells, they begin to lose water because of the osmotic pressure. You'll see all the green chloroplasts start to shrink toward the middle of the cell. This is the cell membrane losing water as it shrinks away from the cell wall. Cells also respond to heat, which causes your body to sweat. And you may end up wiping your brow here, like Cardinals pitcher Chris Carpenter. Your body also responds to shifts in pH. If it gets too acidic or basic, your cells can create buffers, which prevent large shifts from your body getting too acidic or too basic. This is similar to what you'd see in Alka-Seltzer. You take it because you have heartburn. Cells are tiny and they make up all living things, from these single-celled bacteria that you see here to the billions and trillions of cells that make up this huge redwood tree. Cells have parts, including a nucleus, the control center of the cell. There's also the rough endoplasmic reticulum. Its job is to move proteins throughout the cell. Another important part of the cell are the ribosomes. They can be found on the rough endoplasmic reticulum or free-floating in the cytoplasm. They make protein. There's also mitochondria. They're the power plants of the cell which provide us with the energy we need to do everything we do. In addition is the Golgi apparatus, which packages and labels. The cell membrane is also important. It's the outer covering of the cell. Okay, it's your turn. What part is this? How about here? What are these orange bean-shaped structures? What about this stack of pancakes? A plant cell has some parts that an animal cell doesn't have, like a vacuole for storage, chloroplasts for converting sunlight into food. Plant cells do have a cell membrane just like animal cells. However, they also have a layer outside of that called the cell wall. And they do have the other parts that animal cells do, such as ribosomes, mitochondria, ER,